That's Joseph Schnell. I had LASIK performed on myself on both eyes on March 29th, 2007 at LASIK Plus in New Jersey using the Bausch & Lomb 217A Techno-Last excimer laser. I will be addressing quality of life issues as well as commenting on my experiences with refractive eye surgery and thoughts about this industry. My overall experience with LASIK has been and continues to be at odds with what the refractive eye surgery industry, specifically LASIK, advertises and promotes to prospective patients. There is no event in my life that has so negatively impacted my physical, emotional, visual, and psychological health as my LASIK procedure. This is so despite having been classified as having a fairly good result by an anti-LASIK optometrist, having received no significant determination of problems from evaluations at Wills Eye Hospital and University of Pennsylvania's Shy Eye Institute, both located in Philadelphia, PA. I personally have deemed my vision and eye health to be far inferior now than it was before LASIK, and I'm amazed at how this elective procedure is pushed and promoted as being so beneficial for the patient. Even if there were no serious complications or side effects, LASIK's effects, including intended effects, are at odds with what is beneficial for patients. I was shocked after having learned with the passage of time that many of the so-called possible side effects are quite universal and far from remote possibilities as informed consents and doctors, clinics, employees of LASIK would have patients believe. If you talk long enough to almost any LASIK patient, you hear about dry eye in varying degrees, lack of crisp vision compared to glasses, the much worse close vision than with glasses for older patients, worse astigmatism, many times not correctable with ordinary contact lenses or glasses, and sometimes not at all. A former union member of mine suggested I consider LASIK because our health plan covered most of the cost of the procedure. He recently had the procedure done at the time he told me. About 1.5 years later, I heard from yet another member of the same union tell me of how bitterly the first mentioned member was complaining of night vision disturbances and how miserable he was over the effects of LASIK. And herein lies a very disturbing phenomenon. Many glowing testimonials from LASIK patients, despite the fact their vision is markedly decreased from once what it was. I know of at least one reference suggesting that patients of LASIK and other forms of refractive eye surgery have such poor dim light perception that it would render them unable to obtain a driver's license in Germany. After LASIK, I acquired many problems as a result of the surgery. At night, I experienced glare, halos, starbursts, and disturbing astigmatism as I look at the moon, traffic lights, and other lights on billboards and such. My dim light perception is significantly less than what it was before LASIK. Many times when driving, I look into less lit areas of the roadway and see only darkness. I still have memories of what my nighttime vision was before LASIK, and it was excellent. Now it is quite poor. My right eye has significant ghosting even during the day. It gets considerably worse when I am distressed or sick. It seems as if my eyes never work together as well as they used to before the LASIK procedure. They are often uncomfortable during the day, sometimes feeling dry, and sometimes feeling watery and sensitive. I had floaters before LASIK, but they multiplied extensively after LASIK, especially in the right eye. These new floaters make reading and driving more difficult on top of the other LASIK-induced problems I experienced because many are in the central field of my vision. Another recent problem that has developed is that when I look to my extreme left, I see double of everything. My eye and vision problems are not the only result of LASIK. Directly coinciding with the aftermath of my LASIK problems, I have and continue to experience physical and psychological problems as well. Within 1 to 2 weeks after LASIK, I began to suffer from suicide ideation and extreme anxiety. Sometimes I felt like my heart would just give out. A clinical psychologist and an optometrist have told me that I am most likely suffering from some form of post-traumatic stress disorder. The suicide ideation had mostly resolved itself from the tremendous support I received from fellow LASIK sufferers and doctors who treat post-LASIK problems. For some months, I had daily nausea and gastrointestinal upset. I still experience these symptoms to this day, though not necessarily every day. I have developed a swallowing reflex that I cannot will away. I sometimes choke on my food. I oftentimes feel as though someone is pressing both of their thumbs on the front of my neck under my Adam's apple. I also oftentimes develop a lump in my throat when driving in the dark, as I know my dim light perception is not once what it once was. I wake almost every day with very dry mouth and nasal passages. Even when I am feeling somewhat positive, this feeling of impending dread overtakes me at times. I never had the above symptoms until they shortly developed after my LASIK procedure. No stress or passing of loved ones have come even close to the suffering I've experienced and still do as a result of my LASIK procedure and severe regret of buying a package of lies that fooled me into getting the surgery on 2 of my most precious of organs. The informed consents are structured and legally tweaked to protect the company and the LASIK surgeon. There is a statement in LASIK Plus informed consent that separates the center and surgeon as separate entities. I only met with my surgeon 5 minutes before the procedure. He stated that I received the informed consent 1 week before my LASIK procedure. I told him he was mistaken about that. I was given the informed consent on the day of the surgery after my eyes had been dilated. I could barely see the print, if at all.
Would you be able to conclude your comments, please?
Yes. In retrospect, I realized I should have exercised better judgment the way things went down, but I thought LASIK had been around long enough that this is the way things are done. In the brochure that LASIK...
Unfortunately, we'll have to end at this point. Thank you.